Kato and Mila pack in silence. After they've done, Kato leads the way down the stairs onto the first floor of the herbalist's shop. Their surrogate mother, Padma, is waiting for them, and she doesn't seem surprised to find not one but two siblings outfitted for a journey. "Will you be traveling together?" she asks, and Kato looks to his sister to respond. "More or less," she answers, and Padma nods in understanding. She recognizes that she's raised two independent and capable young people. On the edge of the town of Ravencliff, at the gate where Kato so recently entered, the pair pause. "I must go," says Mila. "I will speak with my people before I leave, my flock. They must know what is to become of me." And Kato nods, but he kind of shuffles his feet, and Mila can tell that he's uncomfortable with the prospect. "Go, brother," she says, and she puts her hands on his shoulders and kisses his forehead as he bends low in a display of affection, but also in a way in a sort of blessing. 3 days into the mountains, she tells him. "You will see a sign. You will recognize it. Follow it, and it will lead you to what I need." "Very well, sister," Kato replies. "Goodbye." And he turns on his heel, and with Barda the Raven swooping and flapping over the trees in front of him, Kato Eleri strides through the snow and into the forest.
Welcome, traveler, to the Ironlands and to the adventure of Kato Eleri. As you can tell, it is no longer midnight. When I'm recording this, it is mid-afternoon, because I had some computer issues with recording last night and this morning, so hopefully those are fixed, and if not, well then you'll never see this recording anyway, so it won't matter. When we left Kato Eleri, he was striding into the forest to the east of to the east of Ravencliff, and I imagine that he is actually kind of following the old road that Mila had mentioned from her visions, but not in the direction that she will be taking it. So Mila is going to be taking the old road to go kind of deeper into the mountains, and to a place where the road is actually like broken, and there is a place for her to pray and prepare for this ritual that she's going to undergo, and the offering that she's going to make. But I imagine that, so we have the cliff, Ravencliff, that from whence the town gets its name. At the base of the cliff is the town itself, and then the valley kind of goes before it, and the road, the old road, maybe from this ancient civilization, right, that they don't really know about or know much about. But there's this road that kind of just travels up the valley to the cliff, and then past the cliff, where it kind of breaks, and where time has worn it away, and the mountains have shattered this road. So whereas Mila is going to be taking the road that way, Kato and Barda are heading into like the valley and the forested foothills and the alpine slopes of this area of the Veiled Mountains. And I think that, well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to summon up his character sheet, and we are going to create so this is our current quest. It is retrieve a seed from the sacred tree in the old ruined city. That's kind of the quest that we've been given by Mila. But that's kind of the that's the thing that we're doing right now. But I think that there is also, and this was from one of the previous attempts to record this, but I think that there is the journey to get to this old ruined city is its own sort of situation, because we don't know where it is. People don't actually, like, before Mila mentioned it to me, I didn't even, nobody knows that this city exists. So I think that getting there is not just straightforward, but it's also not super difficult. So I put it as troublesome instead of as a dangerous side quest. It will become evident as we play what those terms mean, but essentially it means that it is easier to complete this obstacle and get on to the next thing. So I am going to say this current side quest is to find the ruined city lost to time in the... And I've done this a bunch of times now, but let's do it again. We are going to roll on the naming table, and because I like the idea that this is kind of like anciently the firstborn who lived here were like the mountain giants. So I like the idea of giving this kind of forested foothill area a giant name. So we're going to go to the oracles, and we're going to go to character names, giant names, and we are going to roll, and the name is, oh, can you see that? Let's see. Oh, you cannot see that, so for a moment. The name is Tuban. Tuban, okay. So, in Tuban, yeah, I think the Tuban is like the Tuban. Like turban, but without the R. So, it is, the Tuban kind of incorporates, or encompasses rather, the valley, the foothills on either side, and then on either side, and then the slopes of the mountains that that border it. So, in order to take our first step on this journey, we're going to make a move. We are going to undertake a journey move, and what that means is, well, it's perfect. It's right here. We got the whoever made this. I'm incredibly grateful to them, because it makes my life so much easier. So, undertake a journey. When you travel across hazardous or unfamiliar lands, set the rank of your journey. This is a troublesome journey, which means we get three progress per waypoint. So each time we get a success, we will mark 3 hashtags on this place. And with dangerous, for example, you only mark 2, and so on. Through the difficulty levels, it becomes harder and harder to progress, and then eventually we roll dice comparing to this, however many boxes we have filled, and that will tell us whether or not we have actually succeeded in accomplishing the goal. So, step 1 is we are going to, or rather, Kato is going to undertake a journey move, and when you travel across hazardous or unfamiliar lands, blah, 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 and then for each segment of your journey, roll plus wits, and if you are setting off from a community with which you share a bond, add +1 to your initial roll. So we definitely share a bond with Ravencliff. That's one of our things here. We got a bond with Ravencliff, but it isn't unfamiliar land. So that's, I think, another reason why this is merely a troublesome journey and not a particularly dangerous one, because this is an area that Kato knows. Kato has traveled in these woods. He has camped in these woods with Padma when they were gathering herbs for the herbalist shop. He has, he spent nights out here alone when he was hunting, and so this is an area that he knows pretty well. And at the same time, the winter and the harshness of the climate is it makes it difficult on anybody trying to get through this area. So we are going to undertake a journey. We are going to roll a wits, and we are going to get +1 for a bond with Ravencliff. So submit that, and come on in. Undertake a journey. Weak hit. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Perfect. So, our action score was we rolled a 7, and so perfect. A weak hit. On a weak hit, let's see. On a weak hit, you reach a waypoint and mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. So that makes sense. I think that this actually, what happens is this is the first 3 days. So the first 3 days that Kato, so we mark down our supply here, that Kato and Barda set out is they're just hiking, and they're hiking following this road, and they're going to get to a point where they will wait for this sign that Mila has promised them will come. So I think that is, that was the first step, and we will mark our progress. So this is troublesome, so we will get 3 successes there. And so Kato spends the first 3 days of his journey hiking through the hills and through the woodlands, across streams that are, when he scoops up some water for a drink in his hands, like his hands tingle with the cold, and maybe as he slurps up some water, he can see bobbing chunks of ice from broken off from the glaciers far overhead on the mountains themselves. So the morning of the 3rd day, Kato is kind of camped atop maybe a hill, and the night before was quite cold. They don't have a fire. Do they have a fire? Would they have a fire? They probably have a fire. So I was thinking like, he doesn't want to let anybody know that he's here, but he's in his own territory, right? Like he's close to home, he feels safe. So he lit a fire, but even huddled close to the flames. The winter is coming early this year. The winter is still harsh. Maybe there was a little bit of snow in the night, so you have like the classic like circle of stones with a campfire in the middle, and then maybe the snow is melted in like a circle around that, and that's kind of where he huddled in his furs, with Barda like hopping along the ground, like huddling close to him for warmth. But on the morning of the 3rd day, he is going to wake up, and he is going to kind of put his things in order, and he's going to look for this sign of what's to come. So we are going to go to moves, and I think that this is a gather information. So when you search an area, ask questions, conduct an investigation, or follow a track. Is that right? Conduct an investigation, follow a track. Is there a better option for this? Relationship moves, quest moves. Yeah, no, it seems like gather information is going to be the best one, because or maybe it's secure an advantage. You assess a situation, make preparations, or attempt to gain leverage. Okay, so actually, I think this is a secure an advantage move, because he is, if we look down at this, he is trying to assess a situation with expertise, insight, or observation. So he's prepared, and he's waiting, because he trusts in his sister's vision that there will be a sign, and he wants to be ready when it comes. So we're going to roll to secure an advantage, and we're going to roll with wits, and we will submit that, and no additions to that right now. So Kato Eleri, let's go. Secure an advantage, weak hit. Alright, so on a weak hit, your advantage is short-lived. Take +1 momentum. Oh, I can live with +1 momentum if you guys can. So +3 there, and I'm actually going to say that the sign appears, right? So the sign appears, and he's ready for it, but we don't know what the sign is. So what's the sign here, bub? So we're gonna go Oracle, and is it what kind of situation is it here? Is it think we'll give it an action and a theme. Yeah, an action and a theme. Lose warning. Lose warning. Lose the warning. Loss of warning. What is something that would give warning that you could lose? I'm thinking like, I'm really uncertain. You know what? Fine. We can roll again. Action and theme. Destroy leader. Alright. Destroy leader. What that means to me is that Kato sees a group of veiled mountain like elk or deer, and he's even awakened by the noise of the late autumn rutting of two of the male deer in the herd who are battling it out, and there's the older kind of gray furred buck that is, has a bunch of points on its antlers, and it is big and strong and obviously the leader. But there's a younger buck who Kato can see is strong and well muscled and is kind of wearing away at the leader of the herd. And as Kato kind of comes to his feet and looks, he sees the younger buck kind of the older pulls back and strikes with its head and cuts a gash across the flank or the chest of the younger buck. But the younger elk strikes back, and its horns maybe catch in the throat of the original leader and just kind of tear it out in this display that carpets that sprays the snow with red. And this buck, the old leader, kind of sinks to its knees as the younger buck kind of paws back and snuffs at the air, and the steam is rising up from the breath of these mighty beasts, because elk are fucking big. Like, these things are and in the Veiled Mountains, these things are probably as big as horses or bigger. So Kato is looking down the hill, maybe at this stream, and on the other side of the stream in a clearing is where the does are gathered around the edges while these two bucks fought to the death. And Kato sees this, and he recognizes, like, this is something out of the ordinary happening. This is probably the sign that Mila has told me to watch out for. So I think, do we make progress? We haven't made any more progress yet, but I think that we're ready to make our next move, which is going to be undertake a journey. Because as soon as the buck, so the young buck actually it backs up as the older one kind of falls into the snow, and this younger elk kind of hesitates. And then, ever so slowly, it turns its head and looks up the hill at where Kato and Barda are, maybe Barda on Kato's shoulder, where Kato and Barda are watching. And then it snorts, and it turns, and you can see the blood on its flank, and from the wound that it took. And then it bounds off. And, this is very strange from a deer. Normally, if it defeats its foe, it's gonna. What do animals do? When they take control of the pack, well, it's probably gonna go do the deed with some of those female elk. But in this case, it goes leaping off across the fresh dusting of powder, and Kato realizes, like, I'm glad I was ready because this is things are going down. So he's going to undertake a journey, and we are going to roll again, plus wits. Yeah, that's our option there. And we're going to submit, and we don't get any bonuses. So, come on, give me... Alright, undertake a journey. Weak hit. Okay, so, on a weak hit, you reach a waypoint and mark progress, but suffer -1 momentum. Okay, so, that works. Or -1 supply, rather. Alright. Minus another supply. And +1 momentum. I believe it's said. Move at speed, mark, reach a waypoint, mark progress. Oh no, nope, no momentum. But we do reach a waypoint. So, 1, 2, and 3. So, Kato follows this deer that charges up the mountain slope into the deeper forest, and he's on 2 legs. This deer's on 4, and he's chasing after. He dashes down the hill and leaps like stone to stone across the icy stream, scattering the does as he charges into along the edge of the clearing, and then up after this young buck. And he can hear it maybe occasionally crashing in the brush up ahead, just out of sight. And sometimes, the buck slows and Kato catches a glimpse of it through the trees. But, it's never too far that he loses track of it. Like, sometimes he can't see it or hear it, but he sees blood on the ground. And occasionally he sees Barda swooping over, or he sends Barda swooping overhead. And then Barda will come down and then swoop forward between the trees and guide Kato. So through the morning and I think into the early afternoon, he follows this buck, which for some inexplicable reason is heading up into the mountains. And what eventually Kato finds at the end of this trek is something. Let's see. Well, what is I think it's the entrance to this old ruined city, but there's some reason that people haven't found it before. So I want to roll on this table to see what reason is there for people not having found the place previously. So let's see. Maybe we'll use a location. What location description? Okay, let's see if we get. Maybe we'll give a location description and our location descriptor and a theme as well. So settled spirit. Settled spirit. Settled spirit. Settlement spirit. Oh, I like this. Okay, so they're running up this hill, and Kato is now he's huffing and puffing, but he can see the deer or the elk that's bounding ahead up the mountain above him, and then very abruptly the buck kind of stops on a ridge and turns and runs straight into what looks straight into the mountainside. And Kato is concerned. He's like, I've been following this thing for hours, and he doesn't know where it could possibly have gone. So he climbs up to the ridge where he sees this buck has disappeared, and he turns and he looks, and what he sees is this narrow crevice in the stone, like a zigzag of lightning that splits this sheer gray rock that even from too far away it looks like maybe just a shadow on the stone, but up close you can see that it's a narrow passage just wide enough for a person to pass through. But that of course doesn't mean that a deer would be able to pass through. After all, they have those fucking honking antlers. So Kato is very uncertain because he knows that he saw the deer pass this way, but he doesn't doesn't know how it physically could have gone through this space. So he kind of hesitates, and he looks at Barda and says, "What do you think, Barda?" And the raven kind of just cocks its head and it looks like more like a chicken noise, but he makes a raven noise. And Kato says, "I think we must proceed cautiously." And he is going to use one of our special assets now, which is the ritual Shadow Walk. When you cloak yourself with the gossamer veil of the Shadow Realms, roll plus Shadow. On a strong hit, take +1 momentum, then reroll any dice one time only when you make a move by ambushing, hiding, or sneaking. So I'm thinking that he wants to kind of cloak himself in shadow and steal kind of into this opening to see what's on the other side, but cautiously. So cloak yourself in the gossamer veil of the Shadow Realms, roll plus Shadow. So I think this is kind of where, because if we remember from our truths, when we talk about mysticism, some still find comfort in the old ways. They call out on mystics to divine the fortune of their newborn or ask them to perform rituals to invoke a bountiful harvest. Others act out of fear against those who they suspect of having power. However, most folk believe true magic, if it ever existed, is lost to us now. So I think that that's the case for most people. But remember, Mila and Kato are descendants of the Skuld. And I think that one of the reasons that the Skuld are so dangerous is that they have kind of access to certain innate magical abilities that the people of the old world and the ancestors of the Ironlanders didn't actually just have this innate magical ability. And so maybe that's one of the things that even maybe consciously or unconsciously Mila draws on, and that's maybe one of the reasons that she has so much influence and charisma is an innate magical ability. I like that. So and then on the flip side we have Kato, who is kind of this darker, like shadowy, draw the shadows around himself magic that is it's almost like the other side of the coin. So Kato is we are going to roll shadow. Oh, no. Roll shadow. Let's go. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me good. Oh, oops. No modifier. Yes. Strong hit. Okay, so on a strong hit, we cloak ourselves in the gossamer veil of the Shadow Realms. Take +1 momentum, then reroll any dice when you make a move by ambushing, hiding, or sneaking. Okay, so we'll take that. I will take that momentum. Thank you very much. Up to +4. And what Kato is going to do then is he is going to roll to sneak into. So I think what he does is we'll RP this, calling the gossamer veil of shadows around him. And what he does is he stops on the very edge of this crevice into the stone, and he takes a breath, and then he begins to chant or murmur something just very quietly, like, and around him, kind of, he steps a little bit closer, and around him the shadows that are inside of this cleft in the rock kind of start to stretch a little bit, and he steps closer, and he steps closer, and the shadows now are wrapping around him like a cloak, or kind of like a gossamer kind of wind-swept, semi-translucent darkness that wraps around him, and we are going to do a face danger, attempt to do something risky or react to a threat, secure an advantage. When you assess a situation, make preparations or attempt to gain leverage. I'm trying to figure out like what is the best move in this circumstance. In other words, it's not combat. We're not. It would be face danger. It's not there's no danger yet. So I think it's secure an advantage using stealth. So he's going to try and stealth through the opening to see what's on the other side. And we're going to roll secure an advantage plus shadow because he's sneaking, and then we can also re-roll any dice one time when we sneak if we need to. So let's do this, and we don't have any modifiers, so let's see what happens. Alright, we get a weak hit, and let's see what happens on a weak hit. On a weak hit, your advantage is short-lived, take +1 momentum, so we'll take that momentum, and Kato comes through the cleft in the rock, and he arrives on the other side, and it opens up. So on the other side so he goes into the stone, into this crack in the stone, and it's narrow and windy, and he looks up and he sees far overhead like a glimmer of blue sky, like there's just this slice cut into the cliffs, and he worms his way this way and that, and at times he has to go sideways, and he hears the ruffle of feathers as Barda kind of swoops above and investigates ahead, but he knows there's no way a regular deer came down this path. And after a couple of minutes of sneaking, the way ahead opens up. And it opens up into... I actually think that I have the perfect image for this. So let's see if we can't find it. There we go. So I think that Kato comes out onto this ledge overlooking like a hidden valley within the mountains, and maybe down off of this cliff he sees this kind of grassy area that despite the snows that lay on the valley behind him, there is this kind of green grass that's growing on the slopes of this hidden valley, and he sees deer here, and maybe even the deer that he sees from a distance has this wound in its side, and he doesn't understand exactly what's going on, but I think actually, where is it? It's settled spirit. I think that these are like unnatural deer. These are like spirit deer that have settled in this place, like are living here as like almost like a manifestation of the kind of the primal spirits of this part of the Veiled Mountains, right? And this is the kind of thing that he sees it, and he's like, this is what autumn should look like, right? Is like there's still some green grass, or maybe like late summer. This is still like what late summer and autumn should look like. There's still grass, there's still grazing animals, there's snow on the peaks, surely. Like he looks around and I'm sure he can see like there are these sheer cliffs on all sides and snow overhead that or snow atop them that so that they look quite impassable, but the weather is not nearly as harsh inside of this small valley. And this is like Mila's vision of what the Veiled Mountains should be like if if the spirits of the land are appeased, is that the weather will be improved, the spirits of the place will be happy, and they will kind of return their blessing upon the land. So Kato comes out, and I think that this is when he also sees the progress. How far are we along in the progress on this quest? So 6, and so I think this is when he also sees off to one side this city. So first he's struck by the kind of the natural beauty of the place, and the lush grass and the animals. Maybe there are even birds swooping around, who knows. But then he looks to one side of the valley and he sees this gray ruined city on one end, and that looks like the kind of thing that he's used to. Like, I actually think it's like the valley itself looks very green and pristine and warm and all of these positive things, and then almost like it's just cut off. On the other side of this invisible line is this gray stone that looks cracked and old and ancient, snow piled on these broken columns and shattered roofs. And he sees this, and he knows that, kind of innately, that this is why, like, that this city and things like it are why the land is no longer so lush and green, because the civilization that built cities like this tainted the natural land. Though they broke in on peaceful, pristine land, and they defiled it. So he sees this, and I think that we are going to make one more move to kind of get down into the valley off of these slopes and to get over to this city here. So what kind of move are we going to make? Face danger. Yeah, I think you're going to face danger, to climb down the rocky, like the sheer rocky slope. So I think that's going to be with roll plus edge. So face danger with edge, because it's speed, agility, or precision. So face danger using edge, submit, and do we get any bonuses from this? Can we use one of our assets, actually? Infiltrator, when you make a move, breach, traverse, or hide within an area held by an enemy force. Yeah, no enemy force. Blah, blah, blah. Perform trickery with our raven, or nope, we've already done that. So moves, we are going to face danger, plus edge, submit, plus 0. And oh no, we got a miss, which would you fail or your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. Pay the price. So either we can accept being like slipping on a rock and falling down into this valley, which would be quite painful, or we can burn momentum to turn our weak hit into, or our miss into a strong hit. So I don't think we're going to do that yet. I think that we're going to accept the consequences of, he starts to climb down, Kato starts to climb down this shale slope, and all of a sudden a rock slips out beneath his heel, and with a shout, his hands fly up in the air, and suddenly he's tumbling down into the valley, and we are going to have to endure harm. So I think because this is a troublesome danger, so it's going to be 1 harm, minus 1 health, and we're going to have to make the endure harm move, which is when you face physical damage, suffer minus health equal to your foe's rank, or is appropriate to the situation. So our foe's rank in this case is troublesome, because that's kind of getting to the city was this foe, and we are going to then roll plus health or plus iron, whichever is higher. So our iron is 2 and our health is 4, so we're going to roll plus health. and then see where that leaves us. So we will roll plus health, and with a modifier of a nothing. And moves. Alright, weak hit. Cool. Cool. On a weak hit, you press on. So he takes this damage, he falls and stumbles, and at the bottom, he hits the ground hard, and it lays there a couple moments in the grass, because at the bottom of the slope there's no it's not rocky, it's not snowy, it's this smooth grass slope, very unnatural, and he kind of hits the ground and lays there for a couple minutes, and then painfully pushes himself up. And I think the Raven, Barda, kind of swoops in and lands on the grass and does a couple of Raven hops and looks up at him like, "Come on, bro." And Kato says, "It would be easy if all of us could fly." And then continues on his way. So I think that is our final piece of progress there. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now we are going to make the move to finish our journey. So adventure moves, reach your destination. Progress move. When your journey comes to an end, roll the challenge dice and compare to your progress. Momentum is ignored on this roll. On a strong hit, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so reach your destination. So we are going to go back to progress, and we are going to roll conclude your progress. All right. Find the ruined city, lost time. So our progress is 9 out of 10 boxes are fully filled, and so the challenge dice are rolled and compared to that number, which, as you can understand, that's why it's much harder to complete like epic quests, for example, because it's much more difficult to fill up all of these boxes. So we got a strong hit, which means on a strong hit, the situation at your destination favors you. Choose one. Make another move now and add 1 or take 1 momentum. Okay, so let's see what happens. So Kato pushes himself up to his feet and starts to walk towards this city. Is there a move that we think? I think what needs to happen next is we need to understand how to either get in or navigate this city to find the thing that we're looking for, namely this ancient tree. And I actually think this was our first progress to retrieve the seed from the sacred city, or receive the seed from the sacred tree. So that, because this is a dangerous quest, we take 2 here, and this is like the first milestone that we've reached. Is we've arrived at the city, and now we need to find the tree within it. So I think that this move is a gather information, and I want us to take a +1 on that, because our wits, while good, you can always take that bonus. So we're going to gather information, search an area, ask questions, conduct an investigation, or follow a track. So yeah, we're definitely conducting an investigation. And so Kato walks across through this fey kind of glade / valley, and he arrives, and I think that he steps across the boundary between, like that invisible wall almost, between the city and the valley, and he feels the air grow colder, and kind of the shadows that he summoned around him when he was first sneaking into this area, they had kind of dissipated a little bit in the light and the warmth of the preserved part of this valley. But as soon as he steps into this other area, like the shadows come back, and they kind of swirl around him in an almost like barely perceptible but slightly hypnotic pattern of like almost like wisps of black smoke that are barely perceptible, but they make him kind of blend, and you think that, the camera follows him, and the camera is following smoothly. In one instant, Kato is here, and then the next he's several feet ahead, almost like he's glitching forward because it's hard for the eye to keep track of him. And he comes to this the outer wall of this city, and it is broken. So there is a gate that is still closed, but there is a massive rent in the wall beside it, like a big V wedge just smashed out of the wall by something, and just this pile of rubble that he, climbs up and begins to look around, and then seeing no one, he continues in. So I think we're going to, as I said, we're going to roll to investigate, and we'll add +1, and we are acting within, we're not acting within a community or a person we share a bond with. So gather information, wits, and we will get +1 because of our success before. So submit, let's do it. Weak hit, okay. So on a weak hit, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Envision what you discover and take 1 momentum. So we'll take 1 momentum, and I think this is perfect. So what Kato realizes very quickly is that he is not alone in this place. There are signs that other beings or creatures are living here. We don't know if they're, like the deer that he followed. We don't know if this some sort of spiritual presence or undead or maybe monsters or humans. We don't know that yet. But he can tell that the air of the place has a lived-in feel, despite being broken. Maybe he sees a particular corner of one building has been swept clear of snow, and there's a little nook where something could sleep out from the elements, and maybe there is a small pile of trash, or a some other indications that there's something or somebody living inside of this this abandoned and forgotten city. So as the GM, I think it's interesting and important for us to actually, or me, to know what it is that is living here. So let us look at, we're going to go theme and theme again. Land, revenge. Land, revenge. Well, so we definitely already know that the reason that this part of the world is so harsh is because the land is taking revenge on the people that have inhabited it, right? That's kind of the wrong that Mila is trying to right with her religious faith. But I think that so I think that the people, or I think that the thing that is living in this, what is living in this abandoned, forgotten city is the people upon whom the land took revenge. So this is these people are unable. These people are magically unable to leave this city for some reason, and they are cursed to kind of be in this place. Maybe these are some of the broken. So if we actually if we pull up our rulebook here, we can see your world. Actually, no. What we have is, I'm going to put that away actually, because we have it in our truths table. Our truths. Alright. Legacies. Before the Ironlanders, before even the Firstborn, another people lived here. Their ancient ruins are found throughout the Ironlands. Wait, that's not it. Where is it? Where are you? Oh, I just didn't copy paste it. So we are going to go. We are going to go back to the. We are going to go back to the book, the rule book, and your world. Legacies. Alright, so in Legacies, we have other humans sailed here from the old world, untold years ago, but all that is left of them is a savage, feral people we call the Broken. Is their fate to become our own? So in Our Truths, in the document that I made, I actually copy and pasted this other one, because I liked the ideas of these ancient ruins that we might uncover. But the people in these ruins, I think that these are kind of, and I mentioned them all the way back in session 0 actually, these kind of regressed people, the Broken. I'm going to actually bring this over into our Truths, because I like it. So, Legacies. Before the Ironlanders, before even the Firstborn, other people lived here. Their ancient ruins are found throughout the Ironlands. And also, on top of that, all that is left of them is a savage, feral people we call the Broken. So, and maybe this is actually like the first encounter that people, like the current Ironlanders, are having with this civilization. Like, Kato is the first person to encounter these Broken in however long it's been since the Broken broke. So, Kato is passing into this place. And what was even the role that we made? Gather information? So, yeah, so Kato is walking around. He realizes that there are people that not just used to live here, but are still living here. And he at that point, I think that he begins to get nervous. And I think that's when he, like, calls on the shadows to protect him, and he starts to sneak. So we are going to secure an advantage by beginning to sneak. And so what was the asset exactly again? I don't know this perfect yet. Okay, on a strong hit, take +1 momentum, then re-roll any dice one time when you make a move by ambushing, hiding, or sneaking. Okay, on a weak hit as above, but the shadows try and lead you astray. Okay, perfect. So we are going to secure an advantage by sneaking, and what we're hoping to do is Kato is trying to... So he's learned that there are people living here, and he assumes that whatever this tree is that Mila sent him for, it's probably going to have, like, a central place in this city. So he's heading towards the center of this broken ancient citadel, sneaking along, and he's trying to make sure that he's in an advantageous position where he's, like, overlooking this... I'm imagining, like, a courtyard. Like very much Minas Tirith with, the sacred tree in the middle. There's, like, a stone courtyard with this tree that is maybe this big, like, pine-looking tree. And it's tall and thick, but it is... its branches are bare. So it's actually just like this, almost like this brown spear, just sticking straight up into the air. And Kato wants to, maybe climb the side of some broken building and hop onto a roof and then scuttle along so that he can see down into this place without revealing himself to anybody that might be watching. So we're going to secure an advantage with Shadow. And no modifier. Secure an advantage with Shadow, 9. That is a strong hit and also an opportunity. So, okay. Fantastic. So, strong hit, you take control, make another move now, +1, prepare to act like take +2 momentum. So we're going to take +2 momentum to bring us up to +8. So we are really ready. And this is actually, I think this is another progress on our quest, because Kato actually has found this tree now, and with kind of Barda flying overhead nearby, and maybe landing, so Barda kind of swoops and lands in what was once like a windowsill to a nearby building, and Kato has clambered up a broken wall, and crouching, he kind of padded along the roof to the edge of this courtyard. So maybe he's like 10, 20 feet up in the air on the edge of this broken wall, kind of crouching behind behind what used to be like a stone, like a low stone wall on the roof, and he crouches and he looks down, and what is the deal with matches? I know that it's, so we're going to look actually here. It should be, it's very beginning. Action roll. Okay. Matches. When you roll for a move, you should be on the lookout for a match on the challenge dice. In cooperative and solo play, a twist, create a complication, or otherwise mix things up. Something interesting, unexpected, or unusual happens. Okay. So, he finds the tree, and it's a positive twist. So, actually, okay, here's what it is. The broken, the people who are living here are actually in the middle of a ritual to retrieve the seed from inside of this tree. So this is not like a natural tree. This is kind of like a spirit tree, if you will. And it's kind of in the middle of this big courtyard. I have an image for this as well. I was quite prepared for this session. I thought that something of this nature might happen, if I can find it. Okay, so imagine that they are... So Kato is like up on the walls somewhere. I mean, this isn't a perfect image, but imagine that this is like this giant tree sticking up into the air, and there are these like hooded figures chanting and singing some sort of prayer to the tree. And this is the broken, like, maybe this is they've after whatever long centuries of torment, they have come to the conclusion that the only way to save themselves really is to plant this tree once more. And so they kind of had a similar idea to Mila, but they're going to be doing it themselves. So in the front is this figure in a different colored robe. I guess this orange-robed gentleman, and he has like a staff, and he like raises it to the sky, and he's shaking it in like a very shamanic kind of manner as the swelling chant raises higher and higher. And then in the other hand, he raises a knife. And I think as Kato watches, he kind of strides forward, and the chanting reaches a fever pitch as he casts aside his holy staff, and he raises the knife in both hands and stabs into the tree, and then drags the knife down the bark. And this tree, it, because of what it is, the knife, like maybe it's an iron knife, and the iron knife like splits the skin of this spirit tree, and even though it's this dead wood, within is kind of almost like a soft living tree flesh that the knife like splits, and the shaman kind of reaches in and spreads apart the trunk, and then sticks his hand up to the elbow inside of this tree and wrenches back, and pulls free this seed. And this is not like a like a little bitty seed. This is almost like the heart of the tree that needs to be like transplanted into good earth in order to renew the pact with the land. And so it's like the size of a cantaloupe. So the shaman wrenches back and holds up this cantaloupe-sized seed, which is kind of it's like smooth and kind of beigey yellow color with like green streaks across it. And he turns and raises it into the air and shouts something in a language that Kato doesn't recognize, like Arabagaja. And the other chanters kind of immediately fall silent and like drop to their knees and press their foreheads to the ground, like bowing before it. And so that's kind of the opportunity, is that Kato now doesn't have to he doesn't actually have to get this seed himself, but he can just steal it, or potentially convince people to give it to him. But is that really gonna happen? I don't think so. So, what does Kato do when this occurs? I think that what he is going to do is Kato wants to immediately, he knows this is the thing that I came for. I'm going to need to take this from these people. I'm not going to fail my sister. I swore an iron vow to bring it back, and this is a harsh land. This is a harsh land where the strong take what they need and the weak are left to fend for themselves. So that's kind of what Kato knows. Though he was raised by like a very kindly woman in Padma, like he recognizes this is what has to happen. So I think that he's going to face danger by sneaking and following the shaman as kind of, I think. So what happened was, this was like a ritual by the broken community that still kind of scrounges a living inside of this city after all these years. This was like their last ditch effort. Like they're going to save themselves if they can. So after this ritual has been performed to extract the seed of this holy tree, I think that the shaman has already an idea of what needs to be done with it. I think that he's gonna like retire to his shamanic area to prepare for the next ritual, which is going to be to consecrate the ground and to plant the seed in a new place, to hopefully like bring renewed life to this city, and then hopefully maybe even allow the spiritual barriers, the curse, to be lifted and allow the people to free themselves from this city that has been trapping them for so long. So he's going to face danger by sneaking. And actually, can we use an asset here? Can we use the infiltrator asset when you make a move to breach, traverse, or hide within an area held by an enemy force? Add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. So I think that is like, this is an enemy force now, because he is planning to steal their most, this is the thing that they've been waiting decades or centuries they've been waiting a long time for this seed thing. So definitely going to get +1 on the roll to sneak, and also +1 momentum on a hit. So, and plus, thanks to our shadow spell, our shadow ritual, we reroll any dice one time only when you make a move by ambushing, hiding, or sneaking. Okay, perfect. So if we roll badly, we can roll again. So, face danger. We're going to face danger by sneaking, using shadow. Submit, and we get +1 because we are inside of an area held by an enemy force. Submit. Okay, so perfect. So we are going to use our our shadow situation to reroll any dice one time only. So reroll any dice is a mechanic in this game that allows you to take any of the dice and either the action dice or either of the challenge dice and re-roll them and take the new result. So what we're going to do here is we're going to keep our action dice score. Actually, I'm going to make sure that I'm saying that correctly. So this would be in the moves glossary. Moves, making moves, weak hit, miss, move glossary. Add this, ask Oracle, endure harm in exchange, inflict harm on a hit, on a strong hit, on a miss. Reroll any dice. After you roll your move, you may pick up and reroll your choice of any dice, including either or both of the challenge dice and your action die. Set aside the dice you intend to keep. You may only reroll once using a single throw for all dice you intend to reroll. Choose carefully because the new result for all dice must stand. So, what happens then is Kato is going to keep his 8, of course, and we're going to re-roll the 9 and the 8. So we're going to roll 2d10, rolling the dice, 3 and a 5. So now it is a strong hit, and on a strong hit with a... And we take +1 momentum because of Infiltrator. Up to +9. We are ready to rumble. I'm ready to burn my momentum at the soonest opportunity. So, on a strong hit, you are successful. Take +1 momentum. And this is... Kato is going to... this is the point, like, he sneaks, maybe he waits for the stragglers of the group of, like, the chanting people, to kind of depart a little bit. Maybe they, like, huddle together and move off in a clump, like, they need to go make their own preparations for this coming ritual as well. But the priest heads off in a different direction, the shaman, rather, to, prepare for this next ritual. And Kato climbs down the rocky, broken wall and stealths after him. So the priest, heads into one of the buildings and down stone corridors that are old and windy and broken. In places, the roof overhead has collapsed due to age and decay, and snow has fallen in on the ground. So, like, there's this weird sensation of being inside of buildings, but there's also the elements in there with them, like the cold breeze that wafts along the corridor and tugs at the shadow, like, cloak that he is wearing that gets, like, blown away, and that's when he used it, because we don't have that advantage anymore. And he follows this shaman until the shaman kind of turns, and Kato, sneaking up, peers around the doorway and sees into this room. And it's not like the shaman's personal rooms. I think this was actually once, like, part of a church. So there's, like, it's like the part of a temple where they would go to make offerings to the land, to the deities, and there is maybe a shallow, kind of curved piece of stone that the shaman has placed this seed upon, and there are several steps before it, and the shaman has walked into this room and placed the seed upon this shallow piece of curved piece of stone, and is now kneeling before it in some kind of prayer. Ooh. Is Kato gonna kill this guy? Is Kato just gonna, like... Oh my god, is Kato just gonna absolutely assassinate this man's? I think that he is. Like, I think that Kato is kind of a fucking, like, hardcore dude. Is he just gonna kill this stranger, though? Like, that's a big deal. You know what? Fuck it. This is a harsh land. Fucking Kato's got to do what Kato's got to do for Mila and for the people of Ravencliff. So I think that let's see if we can use all of our assets here. Sly. When you secure an advantage or face danger plus shadow using your Raven Reform trickery, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. Okay. So breach or Trider. Okay. Okay. Cloak yourself in the gospel. Shadow realms on a strong hit. Take +1 momentum. Then reroll any die. Okay. I think that Kato is going to try and sneak up on this guy, and he's going to see if maybe while the guy is praying, at first he can just steal this thing, but he's going to try and sneak into the room because he knows that this is the best chance he's going to get. Like, they're not going to leave this seed thing all by itself at any point, so he is going to go and he's going to fucking take it. Secure an advantage. Using shadow, and we want. He's not gonna employ Barda because if he were gonna assassinate the guy, he would use Barda as a distraction. Like the bird would swoop in, and the priest would like look this way as Kato charged in and fucking took him down with the knife. But is that the only thing that he can do? You know what? Fuck it. That's what he's doing. That's what Kato's doing. Kato is not a nice guy. That's what we have. Kato's not some like plush Build-A-Bear. He is a harsh man from the Ironlands, and he's gonna take what he needs. So we are going to utilize Barda to secure an advantage by kind of fluttering through one of the windows or into the room off to one side and making a racket with his wings. So Kato looks to one side where maybe the raven is like fluttering along the ground, and the raven like looks up at him, and Kato says very quietly, "Go." And the bird looks at him with these dark, beady eyes, and there's this understanding in them that's like, this is not a normal bird. I feel like companion animals by necessity are like some way, like a little bit above normal animal intelligence. And so the bird looks at him, nods, and then into the air, swooping around to the side of the priest as Kato sneaks around the other side. And I think that, do we get our infiltrator bonus here? Does this just stack the hell up? So like, do we get +1 from Barda, and then +1 from infiltrator, and then, I mean, we just used the cloak, so I don't think we can use it again so soon. I think it's like, you know, a daily power, as it were, if this were Dungeons & Dragons. So we get +2 because we are traversing inside of a place with an enemy force, and we get +2 momentum on a hit. Okay, moves. Secure an advantage. We are sneaking up on this guy with intent to kill. Oh my god. +2. So, the shaman, like, raises his head and looks sideways, like, very abruptly, like, this man has been, like, waiting for a sign that he's doing the right thing in, like, cutting open the sacred tree and removing its heart. He's been, like, he's praying and he's looking for a sign, and he sees this raven swoop in, and then, what do we get? What do we get? Tell me! Strong hit! Okay, so first of all, we can't get any more momentum. I just realized that, because we're already capped out at 10. But, this man's is about to be destroyed. Take control. Make another move now, not a progress move, and add +1. So, I think we're about to enter the fray. When you enter combat, set the rank of each of your foes. Troublesome foe, dangerous foe, formidable foe, then roll to determine who's in control. Okay, so I am going to check if there are rules in the book for, I mean, I know there's a foes section in here. there is a foes section in here. Your world 5. Foes and encounters. Okay. So, we are looking at rank. Okay. Broken. Okay, perfect. Troublesome. 3 progress per harm, inflict 1 harm. So, great. That's exactly what we needed here. So this is a troublesome foe. Progress. Add. The shaman of the ancient. Well, what is this? What is this city called? I think this city also has like a giant's name, because this was founded in the time when giants still walked the land. So we're gonna give it a giant name. And actually, maybe we'll also, here's what we'll also do. We'll also give it a, we're going to use the delve stuff, which I never use. Format, description, detail, namesake, place. What's the format? Okay, so we're going to use this. So blank of blanks detail. Okay, so place of blanks detail. So what is a detail? Storms. Okay, so it is City of Martu's Storms. City of Martu's Storms. That's cool. Alright, so the shaman of the City of Martu's Storms. The City of Martu's Storms. And he is a troublesome foe. Yes, troublesome foe. And we have just absolutely secured an advantage on this man's, which means that we will, on a strong hit, take control. We are going to do another move and take +1. So we are going to enter the fray against a troublesome foe. Moving into position against an unaware foe or striking without warning, so plus shadow. So we're going to enter, rolling plus shadow, +1. Enter the fray with shadow, +1. Submit. Okay. This is intense. Strong hit again. Okay, so we charge into combat. We have the initiative. We and I mean, I think that Kato just draws his kukri in like a downward-handed motion, where the blade, maybe the blade is like, you know, it's curved, and the blade is curved down, and he just charges in and with initiative strikes down into this guy. So you have initiative and attack in close quarters, roll plus iron when you have initiative, and attack at range plus. Okay, perfect. So on a strong hit, +1. Okay, cool. Going to strike plus iron. And do we get a +1 for having advantage? Do we get advantage, or is that just... I'm not sure it helps. So we are going to just... We have the initiative, so that's what we get. Submit. And we have a lot of momentum. Burn momentum to turn this into a strong hit. So we have a weak hit, and we can turn it into a strong hit, if we so choose. On a weak hit, inflict your harm and lose initiative. On a strong hit, +1 harm, and you retain initiative. So we're going to burn momentum and turn this into a strong hit. So how momentum works, I think we've covered, but we're going to turn this into a strong hit, which means that we add +1 harm and we retain the initiative. So progress, we are going to, because this guy is only troublesome, we're going to do our normal 2 harm as just using a regular weapon attack, and then we're going to add another harm, and actually we still have initiative. I think we're going to this is the third. Man, we are absolutely wrecking this man's. I think we're going to try and make an end the fight move before he can even really react. End the fight. Let's see. You make a move to take decisive action and you score a strong hit, which we did. You may resolve the outcome of this fight. If you do, roll the challenge dice and compare to your progress. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to end the fight. And actually, we got to roll... Here. Please, just let me do it. Let's do it. Oh my god, okay. So the Shaman of the City of Martu's storms. We got a 9 and we're beating a 4 opportunity. We have been rolling absolutely unbelievably. So, Kato, moving like an absolute ghost. The raven swoops. The shaman's head turns and he sees this fluttering dark wings. And then he hears like the slightest scuff of a foot behind him as Kato springs, and then the kukri, the skulled kukri that belonged to Kato and Mila's father, just descends right into the crook between his neck and his shoulder, and just stabs down into his heart. And the last thing that this shaman feels is just the touch of iron in his chest, and he knows that that he is gone. And then he just slumps forward, dead, and Kato rips free the knife. And what is his opportunity that he has? I mean, obviously the opportunity to snatch up this seed, but I also think that there's maybe something more going on. So, hit me with that oracle. Major plot twist. What is that? A trap is sprung. That's kind of dangerous stuff, though. I think I'm gonna get 2 themes. Barrier corruption. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I think that the spirits of this place are pleased. I think that the spirits of this kind of land area, they're not really like the nicest, and they see that the representative of this race of people that disrespected them for so long, and they were punishing, is finally meets his end. And at the hand of this outsider who has arrived. And so the spirits give Kato some sort of blessing, or maybe in game terms they give him like +1 momentum or something. But I think that when Kato leans forward to scoop up this seed and put it into his cloak, he hears he picks it up and he hears these whispering voices, like right on the edge of his perception, and he knows, he recognizes that kind of voice. That's the kind of voice that he hears when he calls upon the skulled magic inside of him and draws the shadows about him like a cloak. He knows that the spirits were there and they're witnessing what he did, and that he can feel that the spirits approve. So I'm going to give you Kato. I'm going to give Kato +2 momentum because just absolutely slayed this man's. And we are going to mark progress on our quest to retrieve the seed from the sacred city, because now we have the seed in our hands and the only thing left to do is to escape. So moves. What does Kato do now? So Kato scoops up this seed. He stuffs it into his cloak or into a pouch, and he knows that it's time to get the hell out of Dodge. So what is the best get the hell out of Dodge move? Face danger. I think he's gonna have to face danger using speed. No, he can just sneak out. He killed this dude, and they haven't found him yet. He's been rolling all the best, and so nobody notices. So he's going to actually be able to face danger by trying to sneak out. And I think no, this is what it is. Usually it's like a daily action to use his gossamer shadow veil to cloak himself in, but this time he is given the ability by the spirits again to, using his asset, to once more call upon, like he feels when he slays the priest, he feels this, he hears these whisperings, and then he feels like his mana bar refill, and we're going to cloak ourselves in the gossamer veil of the Shadow Realms and roll plus Shadow. This is exciting. I am excited by this. This is very cool. All right, roll plus Shadow. And do we have anything else? No, we don't. Submit. Weak hit. Okay, so on a weak hit, and this makes sense because he's already drained. He's just killed this dude. Assets. On a weak hit as above, but the shadows try to lead you astray, so you must first face danger to find your way. Okay, that's fair enough. Moves, face danger, and I think that... What does he use? So the spirits, I mean, they're capricious. They want to reward him for like taking out this this priest of the people that they scorn, but at the same time they're testing his mettle, right? Like they want to know that the heart of the sacred tree is in the hands of somebody worthy. So I think that he has to use his heart, because it's like a spiritual, like there's a spiritual danger to him that they're like testing him. Yeah, I like that. So we need to face danger with heart. Ooh. Oh, nope. That was muscle memory. Heart. Submit. +0. Let's go. Come on. Give it to me. Give me the miss. Oh, buddy. Okay. On a miss, you fail or your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. Pay the price. So, I think that we've been doing too well so far to say that, like, people suddenly arrive and it's like a pitched battle, but I do think that he definitely fails, and maybe he takes some spiritual damage. Yeah, he's going to take some spiritual damage from, like, these spirits, like, recognize his worth and then test him, and they find him wanting, and they, like, lash out and strike him with this spiritual damage. So I feel like there are just so many things going on, and I'm going to forget, like, a modifier or a +1 or something that I should have gotten, but I'm not going to think about that right now. So we take that, and then we're going to have to take spiritual damage, which is a move. Suffer moves. Got adventure moves, combat moves, relationship moves, suffer moves. Endure stress. When you face mental shock or despair, suffer minus spirit equal to your foe's rank, or as appropriate. If your spirit is 0, then roll plus spirit or plus heart, whichever is higher. Alright. My heart is +1 and my spirit is +4, so we'll roll plus spirit. A strong hit. Excellent. We rolled a 10 against a 9 and 8. Absolutely excellent. So, on a strong hit, you shake it off. Your spirit is greater than 0. Suffer -1 momentum in exchange for +1 spirit, or embrace the darkness. Please take +1 momentum. I think that Kato is going to embrace the darkness. So he's going to take +1 momentum, and he's like, fuck yeah, like, fuck you, spirits. Like, I've gotten what I got what I came for. Like, I am fulfilling this vow to my sister. God damn it. Like, I'm on a roll. And he takes he weathers, like, the spiritual strike of these clawing nature entities that are kind of semi-there. Like, they're almost like, as he takes the seed up in his hands, he maybe sees, like, these faces that flash past, semi-translucent, for just a moment before his eyes, and he feels this pain, but he embraces it and moves ahead. So let me just scroll back through here really quick to see if we missed anything. So he killed the shaman, barrier against corruption, rolled to see if we could shadow walk again. Weak hit. As above, the shadows try to lead you astray. So we still get to re-roll a dice whenever we make a move by ambushing, hiding, or sneaking. That was just facing the danger. Okay, perfect. So we get that re-roll, and we are going to try and now we're trying to traverse and sneak out of this the city of Martu's Storm. So the city of Martu's Storms. So now we are going to make a move, and I think it's going to be a face danger move because there's scary dudes on every corner, and if we just killed their high priest and we're stealing their most precious artifact that's going to save them from being absolutely destroyed by the nature entities that have been punishing them for decades and maybe even centuries. So we're going to face danger as we try and sneak our way out with Shadow. Shadow, luckily we also get +1 from Infiltrator. So, submit that boy! Nope, that's not it. Face danger, another strong hit! So, on a strong hit you are successful, take +1 momentum. Okay, so, +1 momentum, and I think that means that Kato has made it out of the city of Martu's Storms, and he climbs back through the big wedge-shaped gap in the wall, and maybe behind him he hears shouting and yelling as the people inside realize that, holy shit, our priest has been slain, but they have no idea. All they see is this pool of blood, and Kato, maybe he doesn't feel like glee at the realization that it's really starting to sink in, I just fucking absolutely assassinated this guy. But he doesn't feel like giddy and pleased about it, but there is a satisfaction, I am fulfilling my vow. And I think he kind of reaches down and grabs his knife and squeezes it firmly for a moment before he dashes off across this valley. And I think the next move that we have to make is the move to get back to Ravencliff, climbing out of the valley and returning to this hidden valley and returning to Ravencliff is going to be an undertake a journey. And actually, maybe it's almost going to be part of this same one. So it's going to be a undertake a journey with just wits. Submit, and he doesn't get any bonuses. So a weak hit. What happens on a weak hit? You reach a waypoint and mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. Okay, so we will mark that down. We will mark -1 supply, so we're down to 2 supply. And I think that after, what is this? It's 3 days till he saw the spirit elk, and then it took him, half a day to get in and do his dark deed, half a day to get out, and then 3 more days of travel to return to Ravencliff, where, so a week after departing, he returns home to Ravencliff, and is there a... I think that's where we will make our move to... There's got to be a quest move for this, right? What's it called? Reach your destination. When your journey comes to an end. Quest moves. Reach a milestone. That's not something you roll for, no. Okay. Yeah. Fulfill your vow. Well, it wasn't a vow. Damn, we went through all of that, and it wasn't even a vow, so we're not even going to get experience points. Was it? It wasn't a vow. Did we vow to do that for her? Or this was part of the vow to help our sister? Okay, so I think that we just have to... We return to Ravencliff with this pouch that contains this this cantaloupe-sized sacred seed covered in like swirling green veins, and we need to conclude your progress. So let's roll this thing. Conclude your progress. Come on, give it a strong hit. Excellent. Okay, so progress on a strong hit. I think that just means that we succeeded. I'm actually forgetting what the result, but I'm sure it's a strong success is just the best result. You reach a milestone for sake of advance. No, yep. So we return to Ravencliff, and we're actually going to mark on our vow sheet. We are going to protect. I will protect my sister and help her pay her debt. Blah blah blah. So we are going to mark 2 there because we retrieved this seed, and we arrive back at Ravencliff a week after departing, and this is where we will end Chapter 3. So in Chapter 4, Kato Eleri and Barda the Raven will journey into the mountains to the northwest of Ravencliff, seeking out his sister Mila, and hopefully aiding her in this ritual where she hopes to rekindle and begin to reconnect the people and her faith to the powers that govern this land. So I'm very excited for the next chapter. I hope that you are as well, and I hope that you enjoyed what we did today. It's really, really fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you too to experience this story. So if you're watching this on YouTube, then please like the video and maybe consider subscribing to the channel so that you can get notifications when I post my next chapter in this story. And until we meet again, keep telling stories.